first thing we do, you'll hear the first step is Jay and David in there about the staking. When we pull into a cemetery, first thing we look for is said stake that Jay and David will tell you about. When we find that stake with a name first and last on it, we go off of that stake to put in our monument, whether it be an upright or a marker. When we find the stake, first thing we do is bring all of our equipment out there. Like we run a string line off of the existing row with the stake, and we measure off of the stake. So staking is crucially important that the stake is in the right spot. So we have to measure everything off of stake. When we do that, we dig our hole, we drop in a foundation for an upright monument. We level the foundation out as best we can. Well, we level the monument, foundation is perfect. The difference between an upright monument and like a marker, the foundation on an upright marker, to make it level, could be protruding out of the ground, or vice versa. We could have to dig it in depending on the landscape. I personally don't like to dig in too deep because I think it looks bad when this edge is that far under the ground. You know, I prefer to have that edge sticking out of the ground a little bit, and it looks better in my opinion. But when you go to a marker and you set a marker, we do the same thing, find stake, run our string line, measure off a stake for marker, but the marker is ground level, so it follows the contour of the land, so you can run over it with a lawnmower without busting it up, hitting it. So sometimes them can look goofy. If you're on a big slant, they obviously sit at a slant with the ground. Uprights are level. When we get the foundation in for an upright, we put the base down. The base just gets a couple of plastics putting up in the foundation for the base, 4 of them, 1 in each quarter. We use a little bucket of compound, just kind of like a Play-Doh, I like to call it. We make a couple little balls or discs and put it under each corner to help seal it down, and when that dries it gets hard and seals and acts like a glue. When we're done with that, we put the die onto the base, and then we again put 4 plastics underneath each corner of the die. And then the difference between the die and the base is we put a snake or a bead all the way around the die to make a watertight, weather-tight seal. Because if you get moisture or weather in there, when it's sitting on it all polished, it'll move really easy if you can get moisture and freeze in there. Then when we're done with that, we clean it all up. We go to any accessories. If you got vases, bronze, they all get drilled in, and they get, we call it Hilti glue. It's just our fancy glue we use. That stuff takes like 24 hours for it to dry, whether it's a vase or a bronze. We do that all at the end. Then after that, we take pictures of it and send it in. We used to send it all under email to Bonnie, the lady in the main desk that you call when anytime you call in, and she just disperses it from there. But now with our new computer system, as soon as we take our pictures and send that in, it just gets sent off somewhere, and then immediately the bill gets printed and shipped out. There's times to where customers are getting the complete order in their bill 20 minutes, an hour after I am done in the cemetery. Which leads me to my next thing. The 2 main callbacks we have to fix things are staking. The stake's not in the proper place and we need to move it. I mean, and we're working with you guys and the caretakers and everybody for that. I mean, people make mistakes. Second, now, since our computer system is so fast, is vase issues. We get lots of families who get notified really right away when we're done, and they'll go out there and the first thing it seems like a family does is grab a hold of that vase and pull it up. You know, and we're waiting 24 hours for the glue to dry, and you know when the customer gets there in an hour. So then we're turning around and going back and having to fix a lot of that stuff. So what I'm getting at is that you as AMCs, if you sell vases or sell bronzes or whatever, let the customer know that, hey, the glue that they use takes a long time to dry. If you get a notification, wait a week, just to be 100% sure. Before you put flowers in, or don't try pulling it out. Number 2 biggest callbacks for issues. We have been growing as the trucking department and installation department. Everything we used to do was all Betsy here, manual, grunt and pull and push, and we have been updating to stuff like this, which makes it a world of difference. Again, this is only capable for 800 to 1,000 pounds depending on landscape. So if you have something really big or that weighs a lot, or it goes up on a big hill, and you know your cemeteries better than we do when you're selling. If it goes up on a big hill, if you can put a note on the work order for us as truckers that tells us, hey, actually, maybe ask Charlie to come with me if it's on a big hill, or hey, it's a big monument or an intricate monument, that just helps us schedule and plan to get things more efficient and better for everybody. Anything else, Charlie, really?
Really, that pretty much saves us a lot of time. If we get there and we figure out that we can't do it, then we gotta schedule it out for another 3 weeks. It takes us another 3 weeks before we can get back there. We're out there in the weather, whether it's raining or not, sometimes things aren't gonna look as pretty. If we dig a big hole and plop a marker in there and it's downpouring on us, it's filling it with water as fast as we can dig the hole, we can't really make it look pretty in that situation. So, I mean, the pictures aren't going to be perfect all the time. We get some complaints about that, but like I said, there's not much we can do about it. Mother Nature is Mother Nature.
Yeah, and we're running a limited schedule. We only get 7 to 8 months out of the year to try to cover everything. So we're really pushing. We put in hours. We're here from
14 to 16-hour days. A lot of times.
5 days a week or so. We put in hours.
When they mark it, are we asking the cemetery sextons just to put it right in
The center of the monument should be.
Because then we'll go off of that to center our foundation, and that's how we determine where we should center our foundation.
Yep. Single stake dead center of the monument. I mean, you know what you sold, so you know if you sold a 4-foot foundation or a 3/6, so you know that it, center of that 4 foot should be center of monument. And that's kind of how we go off, and it makes it easy for us, and we're trying to make it so everybody kind of does the same thing, because we get some caretakers, like I got one that up north, it's a giant cemetery where they paint in green grass with no stake, and they expect me to go walk 45 minutes through their cemetery to go find.
I'll get some that put little nails in the ground that stick out that far.
We're just trying to make it more synchronized, so everybody's kind of doing the same thing. And then us as truckers also, since we have you here, we are looking for some more feedback. Us in the trucking department don't hear a lot of feedback. I know Todd does, and Joanne probably hears some of it and gets some of them phone calls, but us as truckers, we don't. We would like for you guys to send in a little feedback, whether we did a good job, great job. Let us know if there's something you have questions about, or you think something looks a little off.
Something we can do better.
Right, something that we can improve on. That's just going to help us give everybody a better product too. I mean, and going off, we don't get a whole lot of feedback, so a lot of the times we really don't know. I mean, we think